Most parents are trying to feed their kids well, but there are a handful of food additives hiding in everyday foods that could be affecting your child's behavior, gut health, and even their cravings. In this video, I'm going to show you the ones I personally avoid and the simple swaps that make it so much easier. I want to talk about something that really changed everything for me around the way I nourish my family. When I realized just how many harmful ingredients were hiding in plain sight in the products labeled as healthy choices and all natural, it honestly stopped me in my tracks. I started reading labels differently. I started asking questions about what was actually in the food we were eating every single day. And once I started seeing it, I couldn't unsee it because some of the food I was putting in my kids' lunchboxes, without even a second thought, these things were quietly causing inflammation inside my kids' bodies. And I promise you, at least 3 of them are in your kitchen right now. I know what you're thinking. Another video telling me everything I feed my kids is wrong. That's not what this is. This is about being aware, because once you understand what some of these ingredients are actually doing inside your child's body, you'll start making different choices. I'm going to cover 6 of the most common inflammatory triggers hiding in everyday foods. And most importantly, I'm going to give you simple swaps that actually work in real life. If you find this video helpful, please make sure you subscribe. I've got plenty more tips to help families eat well and feel good. All right, let's break it down. Here's the thing with additives. They're designed to make food look good and taste appealing, and they're really good at their job. But inside your child's body, a lot of them can overstimulate the nervous system, irritate the gut, and drive inflammation over time. The ones I personally watch out for are the synthetic food dyes. So I'm talking red 3, red 40, yellow 5 and 6, blue and greens, of course. Flavor enhancers like MSG and preservatives like sodium benzoate, sulfites, and nitrates. And where are they hiding? Basically everywhere, unfortunately. Muesli bars, yogurts, breakfast cereals, ice blocks, cordials, flavoured milks, packet sauces, crackers, chips, even children's vitamins. When I checked ours, I was not happy what I found. The good news is swapping these out doesn't have to be complicated. Just start small first. Opt for things like plain popcorn, beautiful organic rice cakes with nut butter or avocado on them, roasted chickpeas that you can make yourself at home. Look for brands that specifically say no artificial colours, flavours, or preservatives. Swap those flavoured yogurt pouches for a plain Greek yogurt, and you can add your own fruit on top and maybe a drizzle of honey. And try making your own muesli bars and muffins. You can stick them in the freezer, and your future self will be so thankful you've got the freezer stocked up, ready to go for lunch boxes. And honestly, one of the easiest things I've done is download one of those apps where you can just scan the barcode as you're shopping. It flags all the nasty ingredients for you. Absolute game changer. I'll link some in the description for you. All right, so if you think additives were sneaky, wait until you hear the next one. Ever noticed how your kid is bouncing off the walls after breakfast, then completely crashes an hour later? That's refined carbs doing their thing. I'm talking about white bread, white rice, most pastas and noodles, crackers, pastries, and sugary breakfast cereals. These foods get broken down so fast and they spike your child's blood sugar, and then it crashes just as quickly. And that blood sugar roller coaster, it drives inflammation throughout the body, not just in the gut. Here's something that surprised me when I first looked into it. A slice of regular white sandwich bread spikes blood sugar almost as fast as a cupcake would. Now, the swap is straightforward. White bread for a really good quality whole grain, wholemeal bread, and sourdough is even better because it's been fermented. And the less processed, the better, which means the less ingredients. You can swap out brown rice for white rice, um, quinoa, spelt pastas, and even lentil pastas for instead of white pastas. You can get some great pulse pastas these days, and my kids don't even complain about the flavour. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. Just start with one swap. And once your kids get used to that, try moving on to the next one. Lunchbox bread is usually the easiest one to start with. Okay, so I want to be clear about something here because I think there's a lot of confusion about sugar. Not all sugar is the same. Glucose is what your whole body runs on. Your muscles, your brain, your cells, they all use it for energy, right? But fructose is different. It gets processed mostly by the liver. And when kids are getting a lot of added fructose from ultra processed foods, that liver is working overtime. And that's when you'll start to see inflammation, mood swings, and all sorts of things that look unrelated but aren't. Now, fructose in a piece of fruit or a little drizzle of honey, that's usually fine. The problem is the added fructose hiding in cereals, snack bars, sauces, soft drinks, even savory things have fructose added into them. And it travels under so many different names. So look out for these ones on the labels: maltose, sucrose, dextrose, invert sugar, corn syrup. Once you start looking for it, unfortunately, you'll see it everywhere. At home, I like to swap a little honey, a drizzle of maple syrup, or dates to sweeten things up when I'm cooking. For drinks, just opt for water and plain milk. And always whole fruit over juice. Juice strips out the fiber, which is literally the part that slows down that sugar hit. This one catches a lot of parents off guard because processed meats are so convenient, especially for lunchboxes. We're talking ham, salami, hot dogs, bacon, pepperoni, those little pre-packaged meat snack packs. Most of them are loaded with nitrates and nitrites and preservatives that convert into harmful compounds in the body, and it drives chronic inflammation over time. Here's the thing worth knowing. I used to buy the no added nitrates ham, thinking I was making the better choice. But a lot of these products just swap sodium nitrate for things like celery powder or vegetable extracts, which are naturally high in nitrates. It goes through the same conversion process in the body, and because it's not regulated the same way, some studies have actually found higher nitrate levels in naturally cured meats than the conventional ones. So the label doesn't always mean what it sounds like. And in Australia, it's even trickier because manufacturers don't have to name the specific ingredient. They can just put vegetable extract, vegetable fiber, or fruit extract on the label, and that's it. No further disclosure required. So if you're scanning a label and you see one of those terms on a deli meat, sausage, or ham, that's almost certainly a hidden nitrate source. And ironically, 100% natural on the front of the pack is actually a sign to flip it over and read it more carefully. The fix is the same either way. You've got to prepare ahead. Try and cook some marinated chicken to shred up for sandwiches, some Mexican mince for wraps, boiled eggs or mini frittatas. These are all great protein options. Real food, they're easy to make in bulk and you can just grab them and go. Your lunchbox stress goes way down, I promise. This one doesn't get talked about nearly enough, and it's in almost every packaged food our kids eat. Here's the thing, we've got two main types of fatty acids that really matter: omega 6s and omega 3s. Both are essential, but they need to be in balance. The problem is that most modern diets are too heavy in omega 6, and too much of that relative to omega 3 tips the body towards chronic inflammation. The oils that are highest in omega 6s, I'm talking soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, vegetable oils. These are the cheapest, most processed oils out there, and they're in basically every packaged thing, like I mentioned before. And the swap here is actually pretty simple. You need to use extra virgin olive oil for most cooking or salad dressings. Avocado oil is also a great one. They're both rich in anti-inflammatory monounsaturated fats. Even just making this one change in the kitchen can make a real difference over time. At risk of sounding like a broken record, start reading those labels on your packaged snacks. Those omega 6 oils are a no-go option, in my opinion. It might be tricky to find, but there are some better choice snacks out there. Companies are leaning towards using olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil. There are some really better choice snacks that will benefit your kids in the long run. Now, you might have heard this one before, but I'm not talking just about celiac disease. Celiac disease is a serious autoimmune condition where gluten causes real damage to the gut lining. But there's also something called non-celiac gluten sensitivity, where a child doesn't have celiac disease, but still reacts to gluten with inflammation, tummy aches, and gut issues. It's more common than most people realize, and it often just goes undiagnosed because it doesn't show up on standard celiac tests. So, gluten is obviously in conventional breads, wraps, pastas, cereals. It also hides in sauces and gravies, and a lot of processed foods that use wheat as a filler or a thickener. Now, I'm not saying every kid needs to go gluten free, but if your child's having ongoing tummy issues or tummy pains, skin problems, and you've tried everything and nothing seems to help, it's worth trialing a reduction or eliminating it and seeing how they respond. Sometimes just cutting back is enough to notice a difference. If you do choose gluten free, just be careful with the packaged products. Make sure you check the label because a lot of them are filled with refined starches, fillers, and sugars to compensate for the texture. When you're baking at home, you can try using rice flour, almond flour, coconut flour, chickpea flour, the list goes on. Even choosing gluten-free occasionally can really take the pressure off your little one's tummy and reduce inflammation in the long run. All right, that was a lot, so let me bring it together. There were 6 things I mentioned: artificial additives, refined carbs, added sugars, processed meats, inflammatory oils, and gluten for kids who are sensitive to it. These are the ones I personally watch out for. Not because I'm trying to be a perfect mum, but because I've seen what a difference it makes when you start reducing them. And look, you don't need to fix everything tomorrow. Pick one thing from this list that feels doable right now. Swap an oil at home that you're using. Start reading labels. Make a batch of muesli bars this weekend. Small changes done consistently are what actually stick. You're already doing better just by being here and paying attention. That matters. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe, and I've got plenty more tips to help families eat well and feel good. I'll see you in the next one.